Wait, do you ever get disappointed when you're showing someone something for the first time and you really want them to get it? And
No,
they
not
don't?
at all. I think
Yes.
Oh.
Matt knew exactly where I was
Absolutely.
going with that question.
I'm clearly an Eeyore.
I'm probably Rue.
I'm a Christopher Robin with a Pooh Rising.
And then I get in a canoe and I'm like, Clairs don't like canoes.
No, they don't.
I'm afraid of this lake.
That's exactly what it was.
Ow.
It was a beautiful moment in our friendship. I was
literally in the middle of getting hers up and down the
Pathetic.
stairs. Ow. I was like, I'm trying to get my hair done. I'm like,
I don't think that's an accurate representation of my owl.
well, you were in such pain you couldn't see clearly. So,
Trauma.
Thank you for listening to the Last Will podcast. I'm Matt Young. I'm a theater educator and a parent. And ever since I lost my father to cancer, I have been mildly obsessed with death. This is my last will and testament. George Lucas once said, "The summer movie season is all about spectacle, excitement, and escape." This week, we're going to do something fun, and we're going to take a look at the summer blockbuster. I'm joined by Patrick Duffy, and we take a nostalgic look down memory lane at some of the experiences and events we had surrounding the summer blockbuster. I hope you enjoy it. Okay. I think we're... I always say, let's check the levels.
Hey, how's the levels?
Yeah, because I want you to be comfortable.
Oh, I'm kind of. This is nice.
Okay. I'll give you a little gain. I think you're good there. All right.
All right.
Get a little gain. Last time I was a
More
little
gain.
low and the ladies were loud. But there are no ladies today, is there?
Oh no, there are not. It's just you and me, baby.
People, do you recognize that voice? You should. He was just with us a little while ago. It's Mr. Patrick Duffy.
Oh, just a couple of weeks ago, we were
Right?
talking about some serious stuff too.
Yeah, we did. I loved that story about everybody gets a song when they're born.
Yeah.
I thought that was very, very powerful. And you get reminded of your song when you've gone, when you've been askew, when you've gone off a little bit, you know.
I just referenced that. I told that same story
Yes.
to a neighbor who's a devout Catholic,
Oh, wow.
and there was mention made of the scandal of priests,
Right.
of abuse, and reactions to it. And I referenced that story because I had said, well, when one strays from the path of where can they return to, they can always return to God. And I used that story as an example.
Right.
That we all just forget who we are in that moment.
So,
Anyway, so yeah.
So obviously Patrick and I didn't get to talk enough about spirituality, so we're going to do spirituality part 2 today.
We are?
Oh, okay. No, I
I
guess
thought we were doing
forgot.
something fun.
We are. We're going to do a fun episode today.
Yep.
Because summer's around the corner.
Ooh.
Obviously the weather is getting better,
Yep.
and I thought
Leaves around the trees.
yes, they're coming back. I know I have switched to shorts
Ooh,
for
yes,
my work
you have.
uniform.
Nice legs.
Thank you. And that I'm sweatier than I used to be from wandering around, so I know summer is coming. And we thought maybe it's kind of like to structure us on a little nostalgia, a little
Oh, yeah.
roll down memory lane.
Lemery Mame.
Ooh, let's hope it's not a stroke, people. A stroll down memory lane. We were going to discuss, for our topic today, the summer blockbuster. I just saw a summer blockbuster. They come out in May now, the beginning of May. This one came out at May 1st. And it was everything I want a summer blockbuster to be. And that was the Thunderbolts.
Boom.
Yeah, it like delivered in every way. And one of the things that kind of like came at me, and maybe we should talk about it after I do the definition, but I just want to put it out there. Can a summer blockbuster also be like artistic? Can like the integrity of great storytelling also be a popcorn movie? If you go back to the first real popcorn movie, the one where people were lining around the. No, I guess I found a fact about it. So it was distributed in like over 1,000 movie theaters. And that was like the first time that had happened. And that was Jaws.
Yes.
You know, they knew they could make money on it, so they distributed it in so many different movie theaters. And that's kind of where the summer blockbuster came out of. And later, of course, Star Wars then hit it. But we'll get back to that. So I guess I answered my question because I mean, Jaws is a real movie.
It is.
You know. Let's do this. A summer blockbuster. Definition. People.
Definition. Summer blockbuster.
Summer blockbuster is a film released during the summer months, typically between May and August. This is expected to attract a large audience, generate significant box office revenue, and also become a major cultural event. These movies are usually categorized by high production budgets, wide theatrical releases, mass appeal and broad marketing campaigns, spectacular visuals, special effects, or franchise elements like IPs, superheroes, action, adventure, science fiction, potential for critical and commercial success. The term became popular in the 1970s with the release of the blockbusters like Jaws and Star Wars. We said that.
Yep.
Over time, summer blockbusters have become an essential part of the film industry's release calendar, often featuring sequels, franchise installments, or highly anticipated new films. That's me at the end. The summer blockbuster, since COVID, I mean, it's not the same. The summer's not the same. There's usually there used to be 8 films that were coming out in the summer that I wanted to see all of them.
Yes.
And it's not like that anymore.
No. And I mean, movie going certainly has changed. I have not set foot in a movie theater now in 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, I have not set foot in one. And it's very sad because I always loved going to the multiplex over in Portchester. Movie going culture, I'm sure, has changed because of streaming and the comfort of home.
Yes.
And all of those good things. And yet, here comes something like Thunderbolts. And, I mean, what were some of the previous ones from other years?
Well, before we get to that, shared experience.
Shared
right?
experience, yes.
That's to me, we still go to the theater. We still do theater. We want a shared experience.
Yes.
The Thunderbolts was great in every way. It was a very well put together action superhero movie with also having an emotional core that really resonated. And like I said to you earlier today, I really felt like the relationships were earned.
Yeah.
The theater was maybe half full. Yeah. It was a little disappointing in that because you want that shared experience.
Yes.
So at the core, I think that's why it should come back. Why I go to the movies. I love to watch things at home, but also I want to go to the movies because I want that shared experience.
I'm like having these memories also of walking into a multiplex theater and the lobby being packed and all of the popcorn and the candy counters packed and this buzz going on throughout and how exciting that was. And trying to figure out which theater am I supposed to go to.
It was all part of the experience.
Where's number 7?
Yeah, absolutely. And lines. And you had to get there early to get good seats.
Yes.
Now you don't have to. You just book your seats, which I love. But it's taking away from the experience of what it could be. So let's go down the line, right?
Oh.
The year I was born. So these weren't, because Jaws had the big release.
Yes.
But the big movies of the summer in 1974 were Blazing Saddles and The Towering Inferno.
Okay.
Both of which I saw at home many years later.
Yes.
Many, many, many years later.
Yes.
That Towering Inferno stuck with... Oh, I was thinking of Poseidon Adventure for a second while I was saying The Towering Inferno.
Well,
I did see The Towering Inferno, but I was thinking of Poseidon Adventure in my brain.
My brother Jim loved disaster movies, and I can remember him making us watch The Towering Inferno and making us watch Poseidon Adventure.
I think they must have been Thanksgiving movies when they would have just a special feature on Thanksgiving.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because that's where I think I remember seeing The Towering Inferno. Was OJ in The Towering Inferno?
Oh, that I don't remember. Oh, Was he in
You want
Towering
to look it up,
Inferno?
or you want me?
Or was he in Poseidon Adventure?
No, he was. I don't think he was in the Poseidon Adventure. But
We-
I think he may have been in the Towering Inferno.
let's
Who was the
see.
lead in the Towering Inferno? It's
Oh, you're killing
the
me.
Great
now.
Escape guy, right?
Yes. Yes.
We're at the age where
Tower
names.
King. Oh,
Yeah.
Towering for Steve. Okay, Paul Newman and Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. Why couldn't I find Steve McQueen?
And
Is the juice.
and Fred Astaire and Richard Chamberlain.
Okay.
And there's OJ.
Wow.
Yes, OJ
What a
was in it.
memory on me. I couldn't get Steve McQueen, but I knew the juice was in it.
And the casts that they would have in these things. I mean, just rattling off those people plus Robert Vaughn, Susan Blakely, Faye Dunaway. I mean, William Holden. Come on.
It had Blockbuster appeal, like summer Blockbuster appeal to it, with all of the famous names that they had to put in there.
And some not nearly famous names yet, like Dabney Coleman.
Oh, nice.
Oh my.
He's a lying, hypocritical. No, he's a. What did they call him in 9 to 5? A two-faced, lying, hypocritical bigot.
That's it.
Something like that?
Yes. Lily Tomlin.
Yes. Okay, so we got that Steve McQueen. I couldn't remember. So in '75, that's where we started the big thing. Jaws
Yep.
brought people to the theater, and also probably secretly kept people in the theater because no one wanted to go swimming at the beaches.
Yes. And I'm sure the theaters were air conditioned.
Yes, I'm sure of that. But like Jaws has such an effect on me
Okay.
that I still have to tell my brain there are no sharks in the pool. This is not a James Bond movie where someone put a shark in the pool. There's not sharks in the pool. They can't get in there. And we don't live in alligator country, so there's probably not an alligator, but there definitely are no sharks, and it's because of Jaws.
Yes.
It's because of Jaws.
Sure. So that does that fall under cultural impact?
I think so.
Yes.
I mean, I think
we're
it
going to
comes
chalk
right
that
at
up to cultural impact.
My sister, till the day she passed away, was still afraid of sharks.
Oh, sure.
I got her, or no, I got my niece a helium blow up shark with a motor on it and a remote control. And when you get the helium in it and you put the thing on there, you could put the remote control and it would the shark would float through the air around corners wherever you steered it. At first, we got it for the kids. It was like a Nemo fish. It was like a huge. It's like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 feet.
Oh my goodness.
You know, it's huge. And I
Yeah.
got the shark. She refused to fill that up for her daughter.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if it's still
Wow.
around, but still no way. My father, and I've said this on there, so if you guys are avid listeners, you probably would have heard the story before, but we used to have a manila envelope full of just old pictures for whatever. My parents went away a lot of the times because my dad was in the car business, so there were all these new car shows and whatever. They took a lot of vacations from us. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't like us that much. In this stack of pictures was Jaws, just a picture of the shark coming out of the water from Universal Studios. He framed it so well. Not an artist. My father was not an artist. Framed it so well that you couldn't tell it wasn't in open water. You couldn't tell. It was just the shark, and you'd be flipping through pictures, and all of a sudden the shark picture would appear, and it was scary as fucking hell. And we go, where did this happen? And go, we were on a cruise ship, and this was just off the side. They wouldn't let anybody in the water. Like people would go in the water off a cruise ship. Love to scare the fuck out of us.
Oh, my
Just
God.
love to scare us. So
Oh,
it
I love your
worked.
dad.
Dad, it worked. You didn't see Jaws in the theater, did you?
I did not. No.
No, I saw it. I
Nope.
saw it at home. And I know as a young teenager, 11 or 12, I'm like, is she naked? She looks naked at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a naked silhouette.
Yeah.
And then she was gone. So, 1976. You want to guess? Or
I
should
know what
tell
it
you?
is.
Oh, okay. Did you look or
It's
you
The
didn't know?
Omen.
It is The Omen.
Yes, I did look.
Omen came out in June. I don't know. For some reason, this list is saying that Rocky, although it came out in December, but was a summer hit. I wonder what the story is behind Rocky. Did it come out in December and not a lot of people see it, and then they re-released it
That could
in
be.
the summer?
That
Probably
could
should
be.
have done research.
Oh my God.
I have not seen The Omen.
Neither have I. And well, I mean, I guess we could go back to that. The good Irish Catholic that I was raised as. Exorcisms the thoughts of them.
Yes.
And, Satan taking over people in the manner
That was real
depicted
for you.
in the open. Oh, my God, yeah. There's no way that I want any kind of part of that.
Yeah.
So much like your sister with Jaws,
Yes.
I would still have a problem with, say, Damien. Oh, my goodness.
Imagine if you had a stack of pictures you were looking through and all of a sudden Damien popped up.
Oh, yeah. Jim may have tried to make us all watch that. I ran out of the room. There's no way I was watching that.
I still, I'm just not, from what I understand, it's a masterpiece. And some of the scariest stuff of all time, but like beautifully shot. The music is iconic. I know the music. But I can't bring myself to watch it. I'm just a scaredy cat.
And the two sequels afterwards that also were critically acclaimed.
Right. So Rocky, I think we got to figure out the story on this Rocky thing. Rocky was a big hit. Obviously, eventually won the Oscar.
Yeah.
So I wonder if people were lined around the corners to go see Rocky Balboa. It's so interesting how Rocky has evolved, even through the Creed movies. They have really become summer blockbusters, whereas the first one was just a movie.
Yes.
The movie where the character was a boxer, but like there's very little boxing in it. There's the stair run and there's the chicken chase.
Yep.
And then there's the fight at the end. But like for the most part, it's just a drama about a man and a woman trying to connect, a shy man and a shy woman finding each other.
And written by
Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
He wrote it. I know that the studios wanted to buy it, but they didn't want him to play the lead. And because he wrote it, he wouldn't sell it to them unless they said that he could be the lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why he had to do it all himself, because he fought for that one thing. He just knew that this was his ticket in, and he was right. He was absolutely right. Could have made a lot of money for the time, I would think.
Here's so the facts on Rocky. Thank you, Wikipedia. It premiered in New York in November 20th of 1976 and was released in the U.S. It had its national release on December 3rd, 1976.
Okay.
And it was the highest grossing film of 76. So
Really?
Yeah.
So it fits the category, but it wasn't summer.
Correct. So that's like the Christmas blockbuster.
Yes,
And
which
remember
eventually
holiday-
came around. That'll
Yeah.
be another podcast, so we have to take Rocky off. Ignore everything. Strike from the record any Rocky talk that you just heard. It doesn't count as a summer blockbuster. Out. 1977.
Oh, Star
Everything
Wars.
changed. Everything changed.
Everything
right?
changed.
Um,
First summer blockbuster I ever saw in a theater.
really?
Yes. My parents went on vacation. The young three of my family, so my brother Jim, my sister Celine, and I walked from our house in Coscob to the theater on Greenwich Avenue that's now an Apple store, and we saw Star Wars there.
Really?
It was the most exciting thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Same place I saw The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Yes.
You saw Star Wars.
Yes.
Were the chairs, you think, just as uncomfortable?
Oh, I'm sure. I've no doubt. But, back when I was 6 years old, I was,
Didn't matter.
4'2".
You fit in those seats fine.
Oh, yeah. And it was super exciting.
That's crazy. I don't know, to be perfectly honest, the first time I saw Star Wars. I know for a fact that Mr. and Mrs. Murphy from across the street, when my parents used to throw a Halloween party, came as Princess Leia and Darth Vader, and I did not want to go downstairs. He scared the hell out of me. Vader scared the hell out of me. Star Wars has been such a huge part of my life. I've gone in different sections. Obviously, all of the toys made a lot of sense. I know I saw Empire in the theaters, but I don't know where did they take me to Star Wars as a little kid. I don't know. I don't know when I really first saw it. And obviously, I've gone through different eras in it. I did a lot of book reading when I was in college of Star Wars books, and that's where my obsession, like all kids were obsessed, or at least I was, and my friend Craig Murphy were obsessed with Star Wars, but we were also obsessed with the G.I. Joes too, in terms of toys. But yeah, in college is when I really started to go, oh, the Force.
Yes.
The Force is this thing that is philosophy, and then you read the books, and the books have so much in them, and But that really started lines like real lines around the corner
yep.
and
I remember
merchandising. There were not merchandising Jaws as much.
No, there was no merchandising, and they certainly were merchandising The Omen.
Nope.
But yeah, that was all the story behind the merchandise and the toys is incredible because you couldn't buy the toys at first, the action figures.
Yeah.
You got a big voucher to get the action figures later on. They tried to rush. They wanted to capitalize on Christmas, but none of the toys were ready. So you got like a voucher that you can you can buy these later when they're available. And I think that was one of the first film negotiations where Lucas had negotiated the rights to the royalties from the toys. From the merchandise.
Like I was watching something the other day. It just came up even before we decided that we were going to do this way. Yeah, there was an $8 million budget or something.
Could be.
And it was the most that they had, and they didn't want to give him certain things, and so he negotiated the rights to the toys and the merchandising, and it gave him the freedom to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
It ended up being like $30 million is what they said.
Wow. Wow.
But what they made off this forever. I mean, George, they didn't know if it was going to be a success. They didn't know if people would care about it. I think that's why they didn't want to pay him that much, or they decided that they weren't going to pay him, or they were going to pay him in merchandising and rights. But yeah, crazy because it came to the point where he didn't. And I think this was his goal. He didn't want to have to answer to anybody.
Right.
He wanted to have full control.
Right.
And that gave him his full control, for sure.
And, of course, then spawned 2 later summer blockbusters.
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
And there was a lot of, stress for him in Empire Strikes Back because now expectations are out there.
Sure.
And everybody knows that sequels are usually not as good.
Yep.
I guess, too, he wasn't sure he could have Han Solo. He didn't know if he had Harrison Ford, so he wrote a totally different story that didn't have a lot of Han Solo in it.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, and then he found out that Harrison would do it, and then rewrote it and was like desperate to get that love story between Leia and Han in it.
And Han didn't die in it.
No, which I think he wanted to in the third one, but also he went to his film professor at UCLA. I think it was Kirshner. Was it? Went to him and was like, "Hey, do you want to? I'd like you to direct the sequel to Star Wars, so Star Wars 2 or whatever they called it at the time." And he was like, "No, I don't want that. That's too much expectation and stuff." And he went to his agent, and his agent was like, "Are you crazy?" And so that's why he took it on. But yeah, George just wanted to. He wanted to be the producer. He wanted to have the say over everything.
But did he? I don't think he directed.
He didn't direct.
No, I think that was Frank Marshall.
Who did the second one?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the third one. No, whoever did the second one was, I think, is Professor. Unless the story that I heard was incorrect. But George just wanted to be like the decision maker on what do the aliens look like, and what do the droids look like, and what are the backdrops and the technology, how to get it improved, and wanted somebody else just calling the shots on set. Also, he didn't write the first draft of Empire, or he wrote one, but eventually they called in what's his name, Lawrence Kasdan, to do the final touch up.
Yes. Yes. It was okay. It was Irving Kershner. Was the director, so his professor. So I guess Marshall did do Return of the Jedi.
They said also that there were so many leaks going out that they were desperate to keep the Vader is my father secret, so they didn't tell anybody but Mark Hamill. They didn't tell David Prowse, who was in the suit. And the reason they didn't tell David Prowse was because he was basically the leak.
Yes.
He was telling everybody about...
He hated George Lucas because he had his voice dubbed. And if you listen to the old clips before they put in James Earl Jones, it's pretty easy to see why they dubbed him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be dubbed by somebody, James Earl Jones you can't argue with that.
No.
But yeah, he was letting out all the secrets, so they couldn't tell him what it was. In between Star Wars and Empire. We had 78 and 79. Grease came out in June.
Oh my God.
30-year-olds in high school.
Yep.
We know Grease as a stage musical as well as a movie. The stage musical is so flawed that I really think they fixed a lot of stuff from the stage musical in the movie.
Oh, I would agree with that. Yeah.
They tightened it up because there are very little moments of like real resolution between the characters in this stage play.
Yeah.
Did you know, and I may have said this as well because I'm getting old, that they have these junior versions of musicals that middle schools do?
Okay.
It's about an hour, right? So in the middle school version of Grease, Rizzo can't get pregnant because they're doing a middle school show.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So she gets mono. Because mono is a kissing disease.
Yes, and everyone was afraid to get mono when we
you don't
were
wanna get mono.
12, 13, 14 years old.
You get a mono for 12 months.
Whoa.
Then you birth the mono. That's my joke. Superman came out in December, so that doesn't count.
Okay.
But came out in July. One of the best comedies of growing up for me. I definitely didn't see this in the movie theater. I'm not sure when I finally got a chance to see it. It was a National Lampoon.
Animal House.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Which I definitely did not see in the theater.
No,
the first
neither
time
of us.
around.
Neither of us did. I do believe it was a rental that my father got at one point where we snuck and watched it. I could be making that up, but I feel like we definitely saw it on VHS tapes.
Oh, yeah.
Cassettes.
Oh, now that was a great junior high school movie.
Yes,
Yes.
for sure. There are plenty of documentaries about the making of
yeah.
Animal House, and it seems like as much fun as humanly possible to make the comedy. Okay, so 1979, Alien, the first Alien movie came out in May.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
That made me believe that childbirth was expanding of the stomach, and eventually an alien popped out.
Bursting out of his tummy. Oh, my goodness.
Except it was a baby, but I thought that's what it was because I was at my cousin's house and they had there was a split level and they went downstairs to watch movies and stuff like that, and everybody's older than Matthew. And so I got scared with a moment of The Shining, which I've never gone back and watched. I've never watched The Shining because I saw Scatman Crothers get an axe in the belly.
Yep.
And the other one was
never happened to Scatman.
I know, right?
Yep.
He got it made up for it all with Zapped, the Scott Baio movie. Do you remember that one?
Not a summer blockbuster.
No. But he throws all of this pot into they throw all this pot into the incinerator that they've been growing, and he opens up the thing and has a fantasy dream. Anyways,
Wow.
an Alien. I saw the scene from Alien at the end where
Yeah.
John Hurt is on the table and the alien pops out. So I really thought like, oh, a woman's belly just grows and then explodes. I don't know why that made sense, but I guess a lot of stitches stitch you up.
I don't know how. It would
I
make
guarantee I
sense
didn't
either.
know that the vagina existed at that point.
Well,
I
no,
imagine.
No, more than likely not. And no one can have that expectation. Kids today are far more advanced than we were back then.
Yes. Even if I did really know the vagina, I'm sure I wouldn't think that a baby could fit through there.
Absolutely not. That would not make sense.
Women, you are miracles. 1980, we discussed, and then everything changed. Then I was at the movies for most of these, I think.
Okay.
1982. We don't have one for 81. E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Like, it felt like a movie made for me. We all wanted to be Elliot. We all wanted to be special, to have this special relationship with an alien who you cared for. And, it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
I have loved Reese's Pieces up until this point.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer them to most things. I also remember distinctly there was a preview before that my mom kind of like scared me with. And basically it was for the next summer's Blockbuster, but it was really scary. So there was all this music, and then all of a sudden a book floated off a shelf and went across. And then another book floated across the shelf. And then all of a sudden a card catalog opened and the cards started shooting out of the card catalog. And then all of a sudden this lady looked up and a big ghost was like,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And it was
That's
Ghostbusters.
right. That's right.
It was Ghostbusters.
Oh man. And I can remember standing in line to go see Ghostbusters.
I was so frightened by this preview. And my parents were sadistic because I remember my mom getting such joy out of scaring me. Like she had seen it or at another movie. She may have went and saw, no, she definitely didn't see Blade Runner. That was another E.T. year that came out in June, Blade Runner. But yeah, it scared the hell out of me.
Oh my
that,
God.
That preview.
That's fantastic.
So any other memories of E.T.? I mean, that to me, even more than Star Wars, I don't know that I understood what a soundtrack was. I didn't understand what a John Williams really could do. Like it was just part of everything.
Okay.
I felt the separation of music and story and how they were working. Like I just had an awareness of, oh, they're using this thing as well to make the story enhanced. And then I could go back and look at Star Wars and go, oh, that's music. It's the same guy, you know?
Okay.
Before I just feel like Darth Vader had music to him. Like I don't even know I paid attention. It's so seamless. It sounds like I'm not giving it a compliment, but I am.
No, I hear you giving it a compliment. And I had a different experience maybe because we were more we were a fairly musical family.
Right.
And one of the first things we got after Star Wars was the record album.
Yeah.
And so I knew E.T. I knew who John Williams was and kind of had a comprehension of the power of music.
We had an 8-track player
Yeah.
that looked like a flying saucer,
Yeah.
and we had the Star Wars disco song.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember the
what
Star
we
Wars
had.
disco song. Yeah,
I don't think
remember that.
Maybe we had the album eventually, but like Star Wars music to me was the disco.
Okay.
Yeah, and an 8-track because you could only do that in 8-track.
Oh man. Oh, but we also now we're really going to date myself. We loved old movie musicals.
Okay.
We used to watch them constantly.
Yeah.
That's entertainment. Anything having to do with Gene Kelly, all that stuff. So
My mom didn't. She was the musical person. She didn't really do the movie musicals outside of like Grease for whatever. But
Okay.
she didn't even do that. That was just part of the what you call it, the lexicon. But we had albums like Annie, and we had Peter.
Yep.
Pan, we had Mary Martin's Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And we had Jim Dale as Barnum.
oh,
You
Jim
know?
Dale is Barnum.
Yeah, so those were albums that we had. So she had those, but not the like real musicals, like stage musicals, not movie musicals.
No, we had like MGM movie musicals.
Yeah.
And but none of those were summer blockbusters because they didn't exist in the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
My father made me watch the Marathon Man, but we never watched Singing in the Rain. You know, that just wasn't part of what we did.
How are we friends?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I still can't sing, so thank God my kid's all right singing. Blade Runner. Anything? I was never a huge Blade Runner fan. I just never science fiction for me at that age just didn't. I don't know. It didn't spark anything in me. I've seen it since. It's very good, but
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Have you seen the director's cut of it?
Yes, I have actually.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the director's cut is far better than what the theater release was.
Yeah.
I mean, back then I didn't understand it.
Oh yeah,
It kinda, like, flew over
definitely.
my
It was-
head.
for sure.
Yeah.
There's something about Sean Young's acting that's always
Why is Han Solo behaving like that?
yeah. All right, so Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Standing in line.
Never like that was comedy and action in a movie, and I don't think I ever saw that. But it felt like it was for me. It felt like, oh, this is a scary that I could handle. It's scary in the right way. It's funny in the right way.
Yep.
I have obviously become a huge Ernie Hudson fan
Of course.
since then. 6 Degrees of Ernie Hudson for those of you who like the challenge. And quotable up until this day, you know?
Sure. Oh yeah, and I can remember some of the physical comedy of Bill Murray in it.
Yep.
And I had no scary stuff from it. I wasn't scared by it in any way. I mean, new Bill Murray. Remember Dan Aykroyd from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. That was just great. Oh, and Rick Moranis.
Second
Second City Television.
Yeah. See, I don't think I had that influence quite yet. I think that all came a little bit later for me.
That's the beauty of having siblings who are much older.
Yes. My sister just wasn't into that. I got Duran Duran and the Go-Go's. Those were the things that were influential in my house.
That's pretty culturally impactful.
Yes.
Please.
For sure.
Yes.
But just like in the mayor's office, that stuff just sticks with me. Lenny,
Oh my God.
Lenny, you will have saved the lives of millions of registered voters. Like, that is useful to a kid who is 7 or 8. But that, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Yeah, until Dickless over here shut down the main power generator. Is that true?
true?
Yes, it is true. This man has no dick.
Yep.
The shit I remember.
It just stays with you. Also, that summer, The Karate Kid.
I never saw The Karate Kid.
The original, you've never seen
I've
it?
never seen The Karate Kid.
Wow.
I know.
It is spawned a lot of modern content, like Cobra Kai and the newest Karate Kid movie, Karate Kid Legends. The first one's great. I mean, it's a movie without sequels.
Sure.
It's an actual movie.
Well, no, they did 2.
No,
Didn't they do Karate Kid 2?
They did 4.
4.
They did 4, and then they gave it to a little kid and did another one, and then they did a TV show called.
Oh, excuse me.
Cobra
No,
Kai.
I'm sorry. I thought you just said that it was a movie without sequels.
Oh no! Like at the time when it came out,
Okay.
it didn't have sequels.
Yes,
It was just
got
it
it.
wasn't thinking, oh, we're going to be a franchise. We're
Yes.
going to come back. We're going to go to Okinawa for the second one.
Gotcha.
It was just thinking, this is our movie. This is about a kid.
I totally
from
misunderstood
Jersey,
you.
A fish out of water comes to
Yeah, it was Ralph
California.
Macchio, man.
Yep.
And Al, or not Al, oh my God, Pat Morita's from Happy Days.
Yep. Mr. Miyagi.
Yes. And now I'm trying to think of his name from Happy Days, his
Yeah.
character name from Happy Days. I hate
I think
that.
they were both Al.
Aging sucks.
Yeah, I think they were both Al.
If you
I think that
know,
was the joke they were playing, is that they both could be Al.
if you know the answer to this, please call in.
Yes, right now. 555-2368. You know what number that is?
No, I don't.
It's the Ghostbusters. Things that stick with you, right?
You
should see The Karate Kid. It's a it's a quality
fantastic.
movie. 1985.
Arnold.
Guess this. What?
His name was Arnold.
Okay.
Okay.
I was wrong.
All right, now I can sleep tonight.
Yes. So, 1985. Do you know what 1985 has a very significant meaning in the movie?
Oh my God, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. What I like to call the dancing at Lunisoft movies.
Oh, you
Only
think it's the
because
perfect movie?
It's perfect.
Okay.
There's just so few flaws in that movie. I have shown my video kids the beginning of this movie so many times because when you look at it, everything leads to something else. You are
True.
setting up everything. There's no superfluous data that you are getting in any way. It is all purposeful. We'll all get back to it. It just unfolds perfectly, and it is Michael J. Fox doing the stuff that Michael J. Fox does incredibly well.
Yes.
Yep.
Not to mention the end. The ending of that movie is brilliant. And I'm not talking about their roads where we're going, we don't need roads.
Right.
I mean, the fact that he comes back and sees what is the
results
third
of his-
observes the opening of the movie. Of
Yes.
the terrorists coming to get in the van and
Yep.
shooting Doc.
Mm-hmm. Spoilers
Oh.
for 1985.
Oh man, here I am assuming everybody has seen all these summer blockbusters.
Yes. It does matter.
I mean that's great. Yeah, so yeah, it very well could be the perfect movie.
I do. I can't think of a part that I would cut from it.
Oh my God! And Huey Lewis and the News, The Power of Love.
Bam, bam.
Huey Lewis and the News was the first band I ever saw live in concert.
Really?
Yes, at the Springfield Civic Center. And what did they open with? The Power of Love.
I think they have to. I had sports played
Oh,
in my house.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I think that was the first album that and Thriller were the albums that I owned.
Oh man,
Like on cassette that would be in my Walkman.
absolutely, absolutely.
I took Sawyer to see Back to the Future on Broadway.
Whoa,
Yeah.
what was that like?
So, I'm like, the stagecraft will be great. He'll have fun with it. He'll recognize the story, and my mom was getting him tickets for something, and so I was like, well, let's do this thing. So we're in the place, and I'm like, how is this so good? How is this working? Everything they change to make a musical, and they always have to change some stuff.
Of course.
I'm like, this is working. How is this working? This is Back to the Future. How is this working? And then the theme came in, and then the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and then the DeLorean rises up off the stage, and I'm like, this is fucking wonderful. Is it, is it the time that I saw Arcadia on stage? No. But like, it worked, and the relationship between Doc and the guy playing Marty, it felt like they were improvising the whole way. They were having such fun with each other. It looked like two actors who were just in the sandbox playing. And it made it feel like you were getting something unique. And maybe you were. Maybe that was kind of the way it was set up.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Oh,
It totally
man.
worked. And then again, then the theme would come back in. And so all of us old people in the audience were just hit with the nostalgia of the music. And wow, I was so shocked. I said to Sawyer afterwards, I was like, I can't believe how good that was. I just never believed that it was going to be that good.
That's awesome.
Or that much.
I'm really shocked
Good.
by it.
Good. I was too. Good may not be the right way. It was good, but it was fun. It was entertaining. It was what it was supposed to be. And they really nailed it. I was shocked. I was shocked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Schedule a movie a weekend.
Yeah.
Like ahead of time. You could
Yeah.
you could look at the month and say, okay, we're going to go see this on this weekend, that on the next weekend, and this on the following weekend.
I think it was easy for my parents to go like, I'm going to drop you off for a movie.
Yes.
You're going to go see a movie, and then
Oh,
I'll pick you
yeah.
up afterwards.
And at that point, it might even have been carpooling.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
you go to the Springdale, Greenwich Avenue, Greenwich Plaza, Broad and Atlantic Street, and when there was a movie theater at that other shopping center that's up Summer Street in Stamford. Ridgefield.
Yeah. I went to that one a lot. Ridgefield had a lot of stuff that I wanted.
Not Ridgefield.
Not Ridgefield. Ridgeway.
Ridgeway Shopping Center, yeah,
Ridgeway.
because I saw Empire Strikes Back there.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Also had Saul's Toy Shop
Yes.
there on the corner.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
I think I was just moving to Greenwich around this time.
Okay.
I remember seeing The Karate Kid 2 at the Apple Store there on Greenwich
Yep.
Avenue. Yeah. There were five opportunities on Greenwich Avenue and Railroad Avenue, right there where we grew up to see things. Otherwise, you had to go to Stanford.
Yep.
So the Goonies. We didn't talk much about the Goonies, but like We all wanted to be Data. We all wanted to have those devices. We all wanted some sort of adventure.
Yes.
It felt like, I don't know, it made me feel alive. You know, it made me feel seen. It made me feel alive.
Yep.
The humor worked. The tension was great.
Tension was awesome, especially back then.
Yeah, it could be a perfect movie too. I'm trying to think where its flaws are. Maybe
For
it
that
had some
age,
flaws.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But for the audience that it really played to,
Yeah.
it was perfect.
And you know, it's interesting too when we look at these movies from Star Wars forward. They are movies like for kids.
Yes.
Like they're looking at kids as a viable audience to go
Yes.
see movies, which maybe they weren't before. Like Jaws, kids saw, but like it was rated R.
Oh, yeah. And
know?
so was The Omen.
Yeah.
You know, PG became what you wanted to be.
Yeah. So like in 75, Superman came out, but that was December. But like that was for kids. Empire Strikes Back, E.T., Ghostbusters, The Karate Kid, Back to the Future, Goonies. These are all kid movies. In 96, we had Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
The original Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Do, 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 do.
I'm just going to let you sing the whole thing.
I had that soundtrack. Yeah. And
I went into the danger zone.
Yeah. Kenny Loggins, he was a friend.
Oh, yeah.
So that had a different feel to it, right? A kids movie, kind of, but also like an adult movie.
Yep.
It had a blue sex scene in it.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, not the birth of Tom Cruise, but like that's probably his first summer blockbuster. So much so that it came back like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And-
you know that I think you're correct.
yeah,
That was his first blockbuster, even though we knew him from Risky Business.
all the right moves.
Yeah.
And obviously The Outsiders.
Yep.
And Taps. Taps was the one that I
Yes.
that I had seen and,
Yep.
and knew him from as well. All right, so my whole thing is getting Crocodile Dundee as well. It was a huge hit.
Yep.
It was a huge hit. Fish out of water premise,
Yep.
big comedy. Talk about mass appeal. Like obviously not my favorite movie, but like that movie had huge mass appeal.
Huge mass appeal.
Yeah. Yeah, it just got for something for everybody. Got people out to the movies. I bet it made a ton of money for the time.
Oh, yeah. It certainly did, and it made a star out of Hogan,
Yes.
Paul Hogan.
Next, I saw both of these movies in the theater. I was not of the right age, but I saw both of these movies in the theater. My whole thing about kids movies, obviously there were kids movies, but these weren't the blockbusters. The Untouchables
Oh man. Oh my God.
and Predator.
Okay, I didn't see Predator.
I absolutely saw Predator in the theater.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. When Carl Lewis, no, not when Carl Weathers loses his arm to the Predator.
Oh my God.
That's stuck in my memory. But Untouchables.
And you know, it's funny you say that. I walked out of that movie and said that Sean Connery is going to win an Oscar. And it's the first time
Really?
I've ever walked out of a movie theater and said that about an actor. And I just remember the genius of Sean Connery in that.
He was great.
And it destroyed me with what happened to his character.
Oh yeah.
Just
Very
destroyed
powerful.
Me. Yep.
I want to say that it was the first like drama I put into my like repertoire in terms of like sitting through an adult movie
Okay.
that didn't have laughs or real action. It had action, but not like Predator action.
Yeah, not like Predator action. What year was that again? That was 86?
87.
87. Okay.
I believe around that time too, and you'll have to look it up on your phone, was Eddie Murphy Raw. And I don't know that was a summer, but I definitely saw that in the
Okay.
theater. as
Wow,
well. I
that's
saw
awesome.
that in the theater.
That's
I know
good.
because I felt like I was getting away with something.
And you talk about a shared experience.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you whole movie theater laughing.
That was definitely maybe the first time that I bought a ticket for something else
And snuck in.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And at the Trumbull Mall used to have a movie theater. I think there's like a fitness center there.
Okay.
Now, but it used to be a movie theater that we went to a lot.
Yeah.
When I lived in Fairfield, and that's where I saw Eddie Murphy Raw. I had Eddie Murphy cassettes. I don't know why my parents let me have this stuff. They wouldn't let me watch Buddy Hackett. Like, get out of the room when Buddy Hackett came on. But like, maybe they couldn't have known. They couldn't have known.
No, they must not have known.
Yeah. Yeah, Eddie Murphy was my guy.
Oh my goodness.
Untouchables, yeah, the first I think drama
Okay.
that I would probably experience.
Huh.
I'm just going off this list.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not on
No,
this
that's
list.
and so now I'm thinking. It just makes me think of maturity because in that year, how old were you? You're 12, 13? Because I was
math.
17.
Yes.
It's easy for me being born in 1970.
Yeah, see, there you go. So you were 17?
I was 17 when that came out. So at that
I was
point,
13. I was
yeah,
13.
and I was watching that stuff.
Yeah. I do remember, though, at the community theater in downtown Fairfield was the first time that I was like, they were like, "You're 17?" I was like, "Yeah," and it was definitely 13, and they got me and my friends in because I was
Nice.
tall. I don't remember what we
Nice.
saw. 89 was the first time that I actually stood in line for a long time for tickets for a movie.
Oh,
I don't remember standing in line for Empire. I didn't
Okay.
remember doing it as a kid.
Okay.
I mean, we stood in lines, but like not like you get there in the afternoon and wait.
yeah.
You know, like the 24 hours I waited outside the Ziegfeld to see The Phantom Menace, like to get tickets for
Right.
The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't do that. You want to take a guess at what the movie was?
Is it Ghostbusters 2?
Nope.
No.
1989. There have been a lot of movies about this character since then, but this was the first one that we were getting, and the merchandising was so simple, and people were just like going bonkers for it, and they didn't know it would be good, and there was some controversy about who they cast, but it turned out to be the best casting, and people will say that his version of it is the best, and I will even say
It's got to be
this.
Batman.
It is Batman.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
It was huge. I remember being in Landmark Square,
Yes.
right down that long path with the big windows
Oh,
and
yes.
stuff like that, waiting in that line for hours to get tickets to Batman.
Wow.
Yeah. Tim Burton's Batman with Michael
Keaton.
and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Great movie. Sequel's better. Sorry.
Okay.
You put Michelle Pfeiffer in there.
Oh, it makes
and even
everything
Danny
better.
DeVito. Yeah, Batman Returns is like the best one. Batman Returns, Batman Begins, and then I could list the rest.
I did not see Batman in the theater. And I
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember the hype in that?
Oh, I remember all of the
the
hype.
hats. There were tons of Batman hats and T-shirts, and you had to have one. And
I vividly remember all the hype. And why did I choose not to go see it? I have no idea. That's
you're like, I
weird.
don't like Tim Burton. Him and his scissor hands.
No, maybe I had something about Michael Keaton being Batman.
Maybe you were one of those people.
I could have been one of those people.
and yet he was great.
Now I can look at it today and say that he's great because I have seen it
He was
since.
also a great Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
You know, I think it's probably easiest to be Batman, but hard to be Bruce Wayne. So
Do you think Birdman really was born out of Batman? Now I'm getting a little
I
crazy.
mean, it has to. It has to have played on. It definitely played on the fact that Michael Keaton was Batman.
I think that, yeah, and strangely enough, I just drew that thread right now. I'm late to that party.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful movie, though.
Birdman?
Yeah.
I think Birdman is genius.
Yeah. It's
It's genius. I've
one of those one-shot films, or they make it look like one-shot films, and I love. I'm good with a gimmick like that in filmmaking, especially one that is artistic and comes at great cost. Although they didn't do it like Adolescent. They actually took one take. I'm sure Birdman was like take, and then they go to darkness, and
yeah.
they fiddled around with it. Also, that came out before that in 1989, and I could have guessed this if I heard the title. But my favorite of the Indiana Jones movies.
you're a big fan of Temple of Doom?
Nope. I am a fan of
In
Temple of Doom.
89.
89.
It wasn't The Last Crusade.
It was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, my timeline is off.
Yeah, because we didn't get Raiders anywhere in here. You
That's
know?
right.
And I bet you it's not on this list.
I
But
bet you though.
I bet you Raiders and if we looked at when they came out, they were probably during the summer. I would think.
Yes.
Raiders was 80, 81?
Or no,
After
you know
Empire?
that might have been Christmas. I
Maybe.
wonder if that was a Christmas thing.
Could have been.
Because I remember my oldest brother Michael coming home and taking me to see it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. So, The Last Crusade is the perfect Indiana Jones movie. Him and Sean Connery together.
yeah,
Harrison Ford and Sean Connery together. The humor sings. The action is phenomenal.
yeah,
We're back with the Nazis, who are the best bad guys of all time.
yeah.
And it's got the Holy Grail is a perfect like myth to be playing with
And they did play that
Indiana
very
Jones.
well,
Yeah.
especially him having to go through the ordeal that he did in order to get to the room.
Yes, because it gave resolution to the father-son
Yes.
distance that they created at the beginning. So the heart of this movie works totally and completely beautifully as in terms of like lesson and learned and
Yep.
and
And there,
and yet it's an action summer blockbuster.
yes,
Yeah. So
and it is great. Oh God, when the knight in the end picks up his sword and it topples over from the weight of it. Oh my God! And seeing him and realizing, oh my God, he's a crusader.
yeah,
That was so cool.
that's a long time to live. Guarding cups.
Although, which do you prefer? The Nazis' face melting or that
The
archaeologist?
electrocution?
After he drinks the grail.
or-
the speeding up the aging process.
I don't know that anything beats the face melting in Raiders.
No, I agree with you.
You
That's the
know?
greatest thing ever. Especially at the very end, his glasses come down, all
Yeah,
the blood's
yeah,
flying
yeah.
out, and then the gumballs that were his eyeballs go plopping out.
Like that whole bit was leading up to it and the right way, and the Holy Grail not the Holy Grail but the Ark of the Covenant was another perfect instrument to have in the Indiana Jones world.
Yes.
That has mystical magical powers and yet is a relic and stuff like that. But the quest to get to the Holy Grail was a better setup for the ending of the movie.
Yes.
And then his need to get it, and Connery saying, or Henry Jones saying to him, "Leave it,
Let it go. Let it go, son.
let it go,
Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana. Let it go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then poor Elsie, she can't. Well, she's German. She's a German Nazi. She couldn't. Let it go. She
Allison
had to go.
Duty.
That's her name.
Allison Duty was the
Nice.
actress's
Nice
name. She's
call.
Irish, you know.
Oh, they have good actors over there.
Yeah, hell hath no fury like an Irish woman.
We'll just let that sit there for a while. Patrick said that. Matthew didn't. So yeah, Last Crusade, glorious. It gets us to 1990. Dances with Wolves was February.
Yep.
And Home Alone was November. So we didn't have a summer blockbuster. We go all the way to 93 where things changed. And there were two big blockbusters in 93. Two. One absolutely was what we will consider the birth of real computer-generated images, and definitely the spark for where Pixar went without them figuring it out. And they used practical and CGI at the same time.
Oh, Jurassic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another perfect movie. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
It
is.
Look, the book is better.
Yeah.
The book is darker.
That whole with the dinosaurs, that was like a Wizard of Oz moment.
Yes. We saw in Technicolor.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Laura Dern stands up in that Jeep, we're all the same way.
My God, yeah.
I read half of that book, went and saw the movie, finished the book.
Okay.
I have no problem with spoilers.
Okay. Yeah.
I loved having both of them. I feel like it doesn't matter. You can't spoil it for me because I get both of those things, and they should be thought of as different things.
Yes.
One is source material, and it's its own story, and it works in its own way because you're reading it, and you have to do your own imaging and stuff. And then a movie is a movie. It's got to be whatever condensed.
Correct.
Except now you could just turn it into a series, an 8-episode series, and you can get most of the stuff.
And you can start doing it before the writer is even finished.
Yeah, that's true.
Although now we're talking about television.
So Jurassic Park was the movie for me.
Yep.
I was working at the Sandwich Club.
Okay.
At the the little shack, the little shack by the pool.
Okay.
Serving rich kids grilled cheese and fries.
Nice.
And then the next Blockbuster was really for my dad. But I loved it. And it won a supporting Oscar. Won a supporting Oscar Tony was what was in my brain.
Wow.
Won a supporting Oscar for an actor
Yep.
in this movie. And it was for my dad. It was based upon a book. I'm sorry, that's a dirty lie. It was based upon a TV show, an old TV show.
And
Yep.
a best supporting actor for a guy.
For a guy.
An old TV
who had
show.
a very famous line that people say. Also, I wanted to say about Last Crusade,
Yes.
I still quote Last Crusade. It's still with me.
Okay.
Everybody says you chose poorly or you chose wisely. Everybody says that.
Yes.
It's part of the life. This, not as many people say,
Cool. Yes.
but it was pretty famous. And the line was, "I don't care."
Oh, yes. That's right.
He said, "I didn't kill my wife."
I don't care.
And Tommy Lee Jones says,
Yep.
"I don't care."
Yep.
The Fugitive.
Yes.
So you look, you're bringing Harrison Ford back. He's got charm. He's in his prime of making movies. We're all with him. You know, he's it's not Clark Gable, but he's Jimmy Stewart in some ways. No, he's Cary Grant. He's Cary Grant.
Yeah, I guess he'd be Cary Grant. And I think at one time he had been a part of 5 of the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
And one of them was American Graffiti. Little known fact.
Yeah. Nice.
Well,
that he was in it, or that it made that much
that
money?
it was in the top 10 highest grossing of all time.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Zoe Saldana now has that record for the most.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You go into a Marvel movie, you go into the Avengers, and you go into Avatar.
Yeah.
You're gonna. It used to be,
I know you
Sam
gotta
Jackson used to be up there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure he's still up there. I just think Zoe Saldana is the most. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she's got. There's a couple of other things that aren't coming to mind other than Avatar and Avengers, but.
Now I'm thinking about that one, and we're getting off summer blockbusters in a way. There's
Oscar
the
winner,
one
Zoe Saldana.
the one actor who never won an Oscar himself, I don't believe.
Yeah.
However, every motion picture that he was in won a Best Picture Oscar.
Really?
Yes, he was Meryl Streep's boyfriend.
Yes. The guy, did he kill himself?
No, he did not. He died of cancer.
Oh yeah. He was Dog Day Afternoon.
He was Dog Day Afternoon.
Deer Hunter.
And
he was Fredo.
Yes, he was Fredo.
Yeah.
And gee, isn't that awful?
That you can't remember his name?
Yeah, and I should.
I think he had an interesting name.
He did.
Too. I'm still looking up. Oh, Star Trek. She was also in the Star Trek movies. So that adds to her.
Ah, yes.
You know.
Look at that, Abe Vigoda. God bless. Oh, John Cazale.
Yeah, weird name like John.
Yep. Abe Vigoda.
Oh.
Fish.
She was also in Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. So yeah, she's raking up the cash.
She does, and she's good.
Yes. I love that she won an Oscar. I don't love what you're.
Oh my God, yeah, but that musical number that
Awful.
I've seen.
You like it?
I think it's great.
Which one? The one that they showed in, or the one that won the song for
the one that won the song that she performs in the nightclub? That thing has power. I thought that was great. She was
the whole thing.
Her performance that was awesome.
I mean, I think she deserves awards, but that whole thing was very hard to sit through for me.
Okay,
it very clearly felt like French people writing Spanish that they didn't know, and it was missing a certain
je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, and you know,
notice what I did there.
When I do,
yeah,
it was French.
Wow, I'll leave now.
Anyway, we could discuss Amelia Perez a different time.
Okay.
Okay, 93. We did that. The Fugitive.
Yep.
I Didn't Kill My Wife. It was a huge hit.
Care.
Huge hit. 94.
Mm-hmm.
We have an animation. which I think every year we had one too. For some reason they're not on the list, but like when The Little Mermaid
Yep.
came out, it was a big deal. And
Disney
then Aladdin
started coming
came out,
around.
it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact progression. Beauty and the Beast, but this one came out in '94, and it was The Lion King.
Ah.
And this felt a little bit different than the other ones, I feel like. The music, I feel, was
Is that the first one that
Greater.
Elton John and Tim Rice had done?
I believe so, yes.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm a little biased because it's, Disney's Hamlet.
Yes.
I do like Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast had some pretty great they all had great music.
Oh, yeah.
But they were like 3/4 musicals because they like have music at the first third, and then they don't have music, and then they'll have music at the
At
end.
the end, yeah. And I loved Lion King. I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, but I thought they when Disney Animation started to go again, when it started with The Little Mermaid,
Yep.
I felt like they just had hit after hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nothing was missing.
Nope.
It was like a road for Pixar because Pixar didn't have anything miss. I would say till Cars 2, and that was the first and maybe one of the few misses that Pixar has had. Anyways, so The Lion King, 96 was a big one. I remember seeing the preview for this. This one was everything a blockbuster. This was like they took the formula out of all the years that we're leading up to this.
Yep.
And said, what are the ingredients that we need in order to make a summer blockbuster? We have to get people excited for it. We have to sell tickets out way before. We have to have this new star and then this old star and comedy and action and all of this sprinkled in there. And then it had, appealing to me, a Crispin's Day speech.
A what?
A Crispin's Day speech. Henry V comes
yes.
up before,
yes.
gives a Crispin's Day speech.
Yes.
His character, let's call him the president.
Oh, my goodness.
Stands up in front of everybody.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Bill Pullman
Yes.
stands up in front of everybody
Oh, my goodness. Here comes Will Smith.
and says, "We fight for our Independence Day." He gives this big speech. Rah rah rah. Funny. You have Jeff Goldblum in any movie.
Yeah, I was going to say to bring up Jeff Goldblum.
To
Yes.
put him opposite Will Smith was pretty genius.
It was.
The two of them, just the rhythms in which they talk are so different. It's a great combination.
Oh, yeah, you had the wonderful opening with Harvey Fierstein. God help him.
Yep. Judd Hirsch.
Judd Hirsch playing Jeff Goldblum's father.
Right.
That was cheating. It was so good.
Well, I think he probably played his grandfather really in it.
No, he was
had
his
that
dad.
No, but I mean, he played. Judd Hirsch played his grandfather.
Judd Hirsch was just himself.
Yeah. So yeah, it had all of the action. It had a bunch of different types of characters. It had a threat that seemed impossible. You had to use a certain teamwork to get it done.
Yep.
You had to have a plan that seemed simple.
Yep.
Like War of the Worlds. Get a virus.
Oh.
There has to be some great sacrifice, which is what's his name?
Dennis
Not
Quaid. Randy
Dennis.
Quaid.
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid.
So it had all the makings. And then in 1997, the next year, a whole new audience appeared. And this audience went back to see this movie over and over and over again. And I don't think studio executives knew that this audience had this disposable income, but they did, and they fucking spent it. And they made this movie the highest grossing movie, I think, of all time at the moment. When it came out, I think Avengers beat it eventually, but yeah, Titanic.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Those young girls went back over and over again. You could see in the money they spent on boy bands and stuff like that popularity, that this was an untapped audience.
Yes.
And this audience absolutely
Oh yeah.
made this movie how big it was.
The romance of that, Leo.
It should have been a disaster. They were talking about it for months and months about this is coming out. It's the most expensive movie ever made.
Yep.
It's going to be a disaster because you can never make this money back, and it did.
And it did.
And it was these young girls.
James Cameron laughed all the way to the bank, baby.
He did. That's why he's making 8 million Avatar movies.
Oh my God.
'Cause he's untouchable.
So I saw that. I was one of the last people, I think, to see that movie with the woman I was living in Boston. Woman I was dating at the time. We went and we were one of 2 of 3 people in the theater, and all we did was make fun of it. We had the greatest time making fun of that movie. When he's handcuffed to the pipe and the water's coming in,
Yep.
she bursts in the room to rescue him, and they're just shouting, "Jack, Rose, Jack, Rose." She turned to me and said, "Okay, now that they know each other, please save him." And we were just killing each
Nice.
other all the time. Oh man, we
Very
destroyed
nice.
that movie.
I love good CGI. I'm a history guy.
I love
to
Titanic.
see the boat go down
It was so great.
that way.
Yep.
Really genuinely scary. Like
Yes.
how horrifying what these people had to deal with was. All right, we're up to 1999. We should probably take a break after this.
I'm wondering if we're going to go year by year, because are we going to put everybody to sleep? I mean, who's going to hang around with us if we go year by year?
Well, I think we'll cut it at this one because we've gone an hour at this point.
Oh yeah,
The summer blockbuster.
okay.
So 1999 was a big year in terms of my expectations, and I did a lot of justifying for choices that were made about this big film.
Okay.
In the end, it didn't satisfy the thing that I really wanted it to satisfy, the way that I wanted it to satisfy. But it generationally, people who enjoyed this film at the right age love it, and because of other things, I've grown to love it too. But at the time, disappointed wasn't the right word, but Star Wars: The Phantom Menace came out.
Oh,
1999.
yes.
And I did wait in line for 24 hours at the Ziegfeld. It was a party. It was so much fun. It's the only movie I've ever seen in the Ziegfeld in New York. And I came out and I was like, no, she had all these decoys. And so Naboo must have cloning facilities. And that's where they're going to get the Clone Wars from. It's going to come from there. And I'm justifying this and justifying that. And the truth of the matter, I was disappointed with everything except for the battle with Darth Maul and the Duel of Fates.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted it to be better. In the end, it gave me a great Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ewan McGregor.
Yes.
He's my Obi-Wan Kenobi. Eventually, we get a good Anakin through the Clone Wars, or at least it satisfies me, the deeper story. Now that Hayden Christensen gets to come back and be Anakin again, and Ahsoka and other things, how Ahmed Best is getting recognized, and he's the one who saved baby Grogu, baby Yoda.
Yep.
And I'm sorry for every bad thing I ever said about Jar Jar, because that's not his fault in any way.
No.
But yeah, at the time I was like, I wanted it to be great.
The other thing that got me excited was right at the very end of the movie. It was the first time that I really noted who Palpatine was going to become.
Okay. Yeah.
And the actor, Ian McDiarmid, looked remarkably like what I imagined, what
you imagined what he would have
the
looked
Emperor looked like in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same actor.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was. Okay, then that's why.
Yeah, in Return of the Jedi.
It was?
I don't. Yes, it definitely was.
It was not in Empire Strikes
Maybe
Back.
it wasn't
Definitely
in
not.
Empire.
Okay, in fact, in that case, then I did recognize that it was the same actor, and I got very, very excited.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I had the exact same reaction to the movie that you did.
I wanted it to be great.
I think everyone wanted it to be great, and yet that is a movie that has improved in hindsight.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's so much different Star Wars stuff that I do love that I'm also at the age too where I have no interest in being a toxic hater over anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get plenty of good Star Wars. If I really want Star Wars, I can grab a lightsaber and play with myself. Hello?
Oh, that
Hello?
just didn't
Let
sound
me rephrase that.
entirely right.
No, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to get a lightsaber and play with myself. No,
I'm.
you
Would you
can play
like me to
Jedi
leave?
Survivor. That's a great experience in terms of becoming a Jedi and using a lightsaber. They're great books, had great stories. The Clone Wars are unbelievable. All of that. So
when John Wilson and I were sharing a condo in Stanford, we had the Force Unleashed.
yes, yeah.
Oh, that
Great
was
game.
awesome, phenomenal.
Yeah. So disappointing at the time because I'd never looked forward to something as much. I remember, and it's not on the list though, I think The Fellowship of the Ring came out the same year, and I was so blown away by the mix of CGI and real backdrops that Peter Jackson used. I was so taken by the power of the ring to Frodo over how the dark side was tempting Anakin. I wanted it to be more Frodo. Maybe it was the second one came out around Star Wars, the Clone Wars, not the Clone Wars, the Attack of the Clones.
No, it was later. The second Two Towers came out later.
No, but even like in the first one, I was like, just felt like what Peter Jackson was able to do with CGI and natural backgrounds. It felt like it had the depth that I wanted, and everything in Star Wars felt very flat because it was all CGI. Fellowship of the Rings came out in 2001.
Yeah. Okay.
So my timeline is off.
Good. Okay, that fixes.
But
that
I do
for
remember eventually having those thoughts. Another blockbuster came out that year of The Phantom Menace, and it is still iconic in my mind. It's still great, and if they revisited it, I would be fine with it. It did have a sequel. I don't remember liking the sequel as much as the first one, but the first one just worked. And I do think it was a little bit like, how are we going to make a summer blockbuster?
Okay.
The Mummy.
Oh, wow. I never saw The Mummy.
Really?
I've never seen a single one of the Mummy movies.
Well, watch the first one because it's Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser and John Hannah.
Okay.
And it's great. It's
Okay.
great summer blockbuster movie.
Wow.
It's got everything. Everything.
Okay.
Well,
And it's funny because now right around the time is when I was starting to have starting to descend into some really drastic life changes. So, like movies from 1999 to 2003 can be a little fuzzy for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I totally get that. And sometimes, when we're growing up, movies are a great way to escape.
Yes.
For me, it was a big, like, in my loneliness, I could always go to the movies.
Yes.
I've never had a problem with going to the movies by myself. To me, it definitely a form of therapy.
Yep.
Or escapism. I mean, therapy.
Escapism.
Maybe there's, not realistic, but... so we made it to 2000. I think that's pretty
we
good,
did.
Patrick.
That was yeah. I mean, it's nice and nostalgic.
Right.
And I love thinking of the packed movie theaters.
And then it became a guessing game. I started to play a guessing game.
Yeah,
with
you were doing that. You were messing me up there too. You're making me feel a little dumb because I couldn't. It was like, wow, what is coming here?
It gave me a chance to try to think about giving hints to what it was. It was fun for me. I didn't mean to torture you.
I had a good time. I love being tortured.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah, just a little, yes.
A little sting, a little ow.
Ouch, baby.
So I think in terms of like the podcast, again, the escapism is like a really important thing that for me was essential.
Yes.
I could live in a movie for a while. I'd see the movie, get the soundtrack, and just live in the soundtrack. Maybe not the songs, but like the score.
Yeah.
And it could give me the same emotional feel. And again, I could escape whatever my brain, how my brain was torturing me or my judge was being hard on me. I could escape into the movies. And
look at the connection the connections that can be drawn to movies like The Goonies.
Yeah.
There were at least 3 movies that you said spoke to you.
Oh, absolutely.
They were you.
Yeah.
And I absolutely remember The Goonies being one. E.T. was another one.
Yeah. I don't know when Dead Poet Society came out, but that's spoke.
Oh, my goodness.
To me, Jesus.
Dead Poets would have been...
It was 89.
Really? It wasn't before that?
I think it was 89.
I was going to say it was
88, 89, but that's my guess.
I think it's 88.
Let's see who's right.
Because I was still in high school.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah. I'm remembering that it was Sean Fortunato, Brendan Fox, and I
Yes.
used to quote that movie all of the time.
Sorry, but I was very right.
Really?
1989.
Jesus. Wow. Okay.
You should have won an Oscar for that. Anyway, Patrick, thank you so much for coming in. This
thanks
was a lot of fun.
thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Nice.
I hope you all had a great time too.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Nighty night.
Bye. So that was our episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. Turned into a guessing game, and that's okay too. But it was really fun to start to think about what it was like having the shared experience of going to the movies. And I highly recommend it. I know we have gotten very comfortable. I'm very comfortable. I bought myself a comfortable couch so I could sit at home and watch stuff. And I love to do that. But there's also something very special about, first of all, the way they make popcorn. And secondly, about going to the theater and having that shared experience. And so hopefully movies will bounce back. I know there's a lot of good movies coming up this summer. For me, I'm very excited about Superman and the Fantastic Four, along with a bunch of other things that are like slipping my mind at the moment. But I plan to go to the theater a lot, and so I hope you do too. Thank you for listening to the Last Will Podcast. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe, and then tell a friend and tell a friend's friend and friend a friend's friend. And so we get as many listeners as we can. And if you like it, write a review. And if you don't like it, just, don't listen again. That's all right too. So until next time, onward, forward.